Do you do any addressable advertising campaigns?
We did some testing on addressable advertising a few years back in Little Rock, I believe, was the primary testing market. Um, there was a lot to that. We kind of moved it slightly off the priority scale. Um, I guess there's a couple things. There was, first off, there's a lot of technology going on, and the reality is that it felt like we couldn't put a huge emphasis on everything. We couldn't get our full interactive suite going with our RFI and our Remind Record and our telescoping products, and at the same time go full bear into the addressable end of the equation. And I think there was some decisions that had to be made. There was the privacy issues, which were more associated with addressable advertising than perhaps some of those others that I had mentioned. And plus there was how does that scale? You start to segment down these markets. We segment down to the zones right now with a product that we call Add Tag, Add Copy, which is very useful for our automotive and in our entertainment tune-in categories. It's a great product. But to further segment down to the home means that you need advertisers who can use that information and who can organize that in such a way that it's scalable to them and us. I think there's been some question about that. I don't question that there'll be a day perhaps where the addressable side of the equation will be further developed by us and potentially more valuable to the ad community, but just doesn't feel like it's front and center just yet, and it's not our top priority.
Could you please go into more detail into Add Tag, Add Copy?
Yeah, cable, of course, is a business that was built by zones. The zones have been cobbled together through acquisition over the years. So and then further to that, we created the interconnects, which of course pull the Comcast zones in with perhaps other owner zones, whether they're Charter or Cox or some of the other MSOs out there. So in a market, it's not impossible to have 30, 40, or 50 zones that make up the interconnect. I mean, it keeps going actually with the the relationships that we have now with DirecTV and then with the telcos, Fios and Uverse. It's essentially more zones into the interconnect that now become I+. So we work with Visible World. They're our vendor in that capacity, and they're really the experts at segmenting. So we're able to send messages to each zone with different tagging. In the tune-in side, it really comes about with channel positions. In the automotive, it could have dealer locations. So there's a lot of flexibility there. And it's a good service. It's one that's unique to local cable, spot cable, and the interconnect, and it's one that we've really perfected well. We work close with Visible World to make that happen, and it's a differentiator for us in the spot world.
How can you best quantify that if you're not really looking at set-top box data, or are you in this particular case?
Well, quantifying it, isn't necessarily about how much audience we're delivering in each of those zones. We know that Nielsen tells us we're delivering the audience across the entire marketplace. It's really just a matter of the different tagging on each of the same spot. It's really primarily location driven is really what it is. So I don't know that we need any really better or more finite quantification than we've currently had. I've not really seen any demand from the ad community expressly asking for anything more detailed than we provide. We provide affidavits that describe the copy that we run in each of those zones, which is with the tag. But in terms of audience in each zone, hasn't been necessary, and it doesn't seem like it's a priority.
I'm sure you have many valuable tools in your sales kit, but is there something that you don't have that you would like?
Yeah, it'd be nice to have more inventory. You know, we're a carrier of the cable networks in particular. So, you know, the way our relationships are with them, we have, you know, limited time around our breaks. We allocate that across 3 business lines, our local, regional, and national. So, you know, there's a terrific demand for our top-tier networks and our sports, some of our ESPN products, of course, and you know, the way it was with the Olympics, there's a lot of pressure, you know, on those products. So it would be nice to have more inventory than we have. That would be one thing.
Can you tell us more detail about your dynamic ad insertion part of the business? How does it work? What is the lead time? All of that.
Right. Well, we really got that. We really scaled that out in the last 12 months. Essentially, there's 2 parts to that equation. There's the mechanics of the dynamic ad insertion, which is, you know, the ability to you know, put the ads in on demand. The dynamic part, of course, is internet driven. You know, we'll serve ads up to impression levels. So, and then of course to do it across our entire digital footprint. So we've made that happen, and that's been terrific. And then the second part of the equation, which is equally important, is the rights we have with the cable networks to actually put the ads in there, whether they're, you know, pre-roll or post-roll, which is the primary positions we have available to us now today. You know, those are ongoing discussions. We have limited ability to generate scale without enough networks providing us rights to insert ads on their network. So, you know, right now it's primarily the NBC, our own family of networks. Of course, we're inserting there. We have a series of networks that are not cable networks, that are more, you know, on-demand type networks, which, you know, we can generate some impressions on. You know, I know we just entered into the, you know, the relationship with Disney, so I would suspect at some point in time, you know, that could open up. I know we're in discussions with lots of the other, you know, families right now. I'm not completely sure what the status of that is, but you know, it's another emerging business. I mean, again, it's, you know, from where I sit, it's easy to talk about the technology, and a lot of people want to talk about the technology, but the fact is that you know, we have a lot of responsibility around our core business, and my focus is on the core business. You know, we want to be out in the marketplace talking about the you know, the value proposition associated with targeted reach and frequency, using television, using Xfinity Online, combining those 2 entities, building back reach and frequency against those targeted customers. And then once we get down that road and we start to put, you know, some consistent patterns together with major national advertisers, we're able to flow in, you know, some of our interactive products. And, you know, if there's an opportunity to use dynamic ad insertion with our on-demand business, then so be it. But, you know, we're not leading with those products. That's not how, you know, we run this business here. We're serving the national ad community, and that means impressions against their targeted audience using our primary reach and frequency vehicles.